a DIY is really worth it. Like a DIY is really, really worth it because almost every influencer now says everything you need to grow your hair long can be found in your kitchen. You just need things like cloves, you need things like rosemary, ginger, garlic. That's all you need. But then there are things like microbial contamination, like the measurements, the weights, the exact kind of recipe you need to follow to be able to get it right. There are things like that. So is making DIY really worth it at the end of the day? Stick around because at the end of this video, you'll be able to make informed decisions on your DIYs, on how to go about it, whether you should even do it in the first place. I have my notes with me, and so we're getting into the real reasons. I'll be talking about pros and cons of DIYs. And at the end of this video, I would also be sharing tips on how you can make your DIYs, less of the cons and more of the pros. So let's start with good news. Let's start with the pros. Truth be told, DIY can be amazing if done right. I have 5 pros, and under each of them, there are 2 points. So that's coming to a total of 10 pros. The first pro is natural ingredients. So if you are doing DIYs, you will tend to skip out all those chemicals that would damage your hair, or that would strip your hair of the natural oils or make your hair dry out easily. All of those things, you just pick the good ones, and no artificial chemicals. Like I said at the beginning of the video, everything you need is in your kitchen, right? Exactly. So the ingredients you'll be using will be natural, things that you can eat, at least most of them, or things that are good for your health in general. You just be applying those on your head. So that's the first pro: absence of chemicals and presence of a lot of natural ingredients. The second pro is customization. So first is that you tailor it to your hair type. You can tailor it to whether you're type 4, type 3, type 2, type 1. You just tailor it to the needs of your hair, tailor it to the type of your hair, tailor it to your hair porosity, just tailor it to whatever you need at that point in time. That's why DIY is fantastic, because whatever you need at that point in time, you can get it done by yourself. Do you get? You can experiment freely with it. You're in charge of the texture, you're in charge of the scent, you're in charge of the way it feels, you're in charge of the consistency, you're in charge of every single thing about it. So you can experiment freely. Okay, this leave-in conditioner I made is too thick. I want to make it a bit lighter. Okay, this butter I made is just too thick and too heavy. I want to make it a bit lighter. This deep conditioner is too light. I want it a bit heavier. This shampoo doesn't it's not foaming enough. I want it to foam more. Do you get? So you can experiment and then tailor it to you. At the end of the day, it's what your hair needs. That's what you're giving to it at that point in time. The third pro is that it is cost effective. You can save money and then you can reduce waste. Save money by now, like I said, some of the things are already things that you have. So you just pick up one or two things that you have and then whip it up, put it on your hair. You have banana in the kitchen, you have this in the kitchen. Just blend it. Make sure it's smooth enough to put on your hair without leaving any particles. Just do that, put it on your hair, and then you're done. You're saving money, you're being cost effective, and then you're reducing waste. From just one ingredient, you can get a couple of things from it. You want to do a pre-poo with flaxseed, right? You get the gel from boiling the first time. Then you're like, oh no, I can still do more with this. Then you go ahead to blend the remaining things and get a creamy, less gel-like consistency and use it for a deep conditioner. You have gotten a pre-poo, you have gotten a deep conditioner. So you're able to reduce waste. And one more thing, you can use containers over and over and over again. You don't end up buying lots of containers, which means you're actually saving the planet. And you're being earth friendly. That's a bonus, right? The fourth pro is that you have control over every ingredient you're using. Like, you know exactly what you're using. You know that there is no hidden chemical in this product. You know that this my product contains one, two, three, four, and there's nothing extra. It has just coconut oil, it has just castor oil, it has just this herb, this herb, this herb, and that's just it. Like, there's no extra nonsense inside, no extra chemical inside, because you were the one that made it yourself. So you know exactly what you put in it. And you can also avoid things that you're allergic to, or avoid things that irritate you. Okay, so I find that aloe vera irritates me. You skip it. I find that using flaxseed makes my hair itch. You skip it. You're allergic to this scent. or this fragrance, you skip it. You're allergic to this oil, you skip it. Like you are able to control and avoid allergies by removing things that you know you're allergic to. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win. Okay, the fifth pro is that it is fun and creative. Like, let's not even lie. Okay, at least for me, I actually do enjoy DIY, but I don't know of anybody that doesn't enjoy like whipping up something that you made yourself, you made from scratch. Like, there's a kind of joy. Really, there's a kind of joy that it comes with. There's a kind of, oh, I did this myself and it's working this well. A kind of, oh, achievement. I think that's the word. Pride, or you feel proud of yourself. You've accomplished something. Like, do you get achievement that comes with doing something yourself? So it's fun. You can be creative. I've tried this thing today. Let me try something different today. Let me use a different timing. Let me, do you get, just switch things up. I don't want it to be this boring. I want it to be like extra. What's it called? Vanilla and what? Like, I just want it to be extra. And it's also fun because you can do it with people that you love, or people that enjoy doing things like this too. So you can turn it into something that is very fun and creative by experimenting, then sharing it or sharing the experience with someone that's dear to you. So now let's go to the flip side, because as much as there's a lot of good things about DIY, there are also some cons. So I'll be listening it out so that you won't be making DIYs blindsidedly. You'll be making DIYs without proper information on what to expect or what to look out for. The first con is lack of regulation. This one, I mean, there's no quality control. Like, you can't check if this is the right quality or this is not the right quality, because at the end of the day, you just did it yourself in your kitchen. But with store-bought products, you can guarantee that there were a couple of tests done on these things, and so the quality is like to the standard. There's a particular standard that they have to meet up to, right? It's up to that standard. But with DIY, there's no guarantee whatsoever that you're meeting that particular standard, be it in pH, be it in formulation, whatever process you needed to go through to make sure the quality is right. It's not, you're not going through that with DIY. So there's no quality control, or little to no quality control in DIYs or when doing DIY. The next one is that variable potency. Like I said, no quality control, right? And the thing with herbs is that you can buy herbs from this place today and buy that same herb from a different store, but then you're getting different potency. This particular, let's say rosemary, this particular rosemary has more of this particular chemicals, and this one has less of that chemicals. Like, the potency is varies, and the things that you cannot check it or you cannot confirm because no quality control. You're doing it by yourself in your kitchen. So the result that this particular batch would give may be different from the result that this particular batch would give because of the variable potency. Do you get? Now the next con is limited shelf life. DIYs, like, they spoil quickly if you don't store it properly, or if you don't put it in the right container, put it in the right condition, or you don't put the proper amount of preservative. And at the end of the day, you're doing what you're making it yourself, which means even if you put a preservative, you were not able to do stability studies to know if this preservative is enough, or you were not able to do some other studies to know if the preservative will be enough or not. So you're, and you might end up putting bacteria on your scalp. So there is a huge amount of risks of spoilage with DIYs because you're using perishable ingredients that can, expire. Now, the third con is potential for allergic reaction or irritation. Now, the fact that you're doing it yourself doesn't mean you should not patch this. This is a step that some people skip because, oh well, I made it myself. I know every single ingredient that is in it. What's the point of patch testing? Well, even though you know the ingredients you're using exactly, you may not know which of them you're allergic to. So you have to patch test. The next con is lack of standardization. And I mentioned something similar to this earlier, but then you'll be getting variable results because you may use the same recipe 2 times, but then the result would vary. Why? Because there's no quality control and the potency may vary. This herb may have a different potency from the herb that you bought from a different place, just because it was harvested at different times or different location. The location matters, the time matters, that all these herbs were harvested. So if you're buying herbs that were harvested differently, you'll be getting different potency. Different potency equals to different results, variable results. So because of the lack of standardization, this person may be experiencing a lot more benefits than person B because of, you know, just the difference in herbs. The herbs were the same, but then the potency was different. So this makes it difficult or hard to replicate success. This person A is experiencing success with his DIY. Person B went to do the same DIY, but then is experiencing a little bit. of difference. Another con is that it is time consuming and labor intensive. Like with store bought products, you just need to pick up the product, use it into your hair, drop the product back, that's it. But with DIYs, you need to start peeling, grinding, sieving, separating, boiling, all those things. So if you're someone that doesn't have that time, you can imagine how frustrating DIYs can be. So this is a con, and I believe that this is why some people do not like DIYs, because it is just so labor intensive and it consumes time. It consumes time. It's just easier getting the store bought product. Just get it from the store, put it on your hair, put it back on the shelf, and that's it. Like that's it. But with DIYs, you go through all of those process. Another con is limited availability of ingredients. So the ingredients may not be available because seasonal ingredients available in this season, not available in this season. So you have to be switching up your recipe almost every time, or because you want to do DIY. You have to be switching up your products almost every time, or switching up the ingredients in your products almost every time, all because you want to do DIY. Like, so the fact that some ingredients are scarce to see, or they may be seasonal ingredients, you find it difficult to replicate a particular recipe. That's another con of DIY. One more con is risk of contamination. Like I said, if it's not stored properly, there'll be bacterial contamination, and there's also something called cross contamination. So you're making two different products at the same time, you're using the same spatula. Risks of cross contamination, risks of microbial contamination. It's just a lot when you're doing DIY. So, like I said, at the end of the video, I'll be adding a little bit of something to make sure your DIYs are more of the pros and less of the cons. So, here are things to look out for when doing your DIYs. The measurement of ingredients. So, like one of the cons of DIYs, or one of the things to look out for is putting too much ingredients or putting too little ingredients. Now, this is very, very common because there's really no particular measurement, right? So, what you can do is to have a book or a log where you write down what you did today. You can say, okay, I made flaxseed gel today and I used 2 spoons of flaxseed gel to 1 cup of water, and it came out too thick, it came out too thin, or it was the right consistency. So you just keep on going like that until you are able to get the perfect gel-like consistency you want. Now this would go for every other of your products, right? Your egg roots, oils, your butter, your leave-in conditioner, your deep conditioner, your shampoos, every single thing. You just keep on going like that. Have a log, write it down, experiment as you go, and then be keeping record so that you have a proper record of everything and actually have the right measurement at the end of the day. Because overloading your products with proteins, overloading your products with too much of an ingredient can be very, very bad and harmful for your hair. Yes. And putting too little would just be not effective. Do you get? So you need to get the right measurement every single time. But then you start with experimenting. Remember, one of the cons of DIY was that you may experience risks of allergic reactions or irritation because of your product. So what you can do to avoid this or to limit is that for every product you do a patch test. You're using a different product, you do a patch test, side of your neck, your palm, something, just to make sure that, oh, you're not allergic to this, or you're not going to react to this, just to make sure. Then you can write down the things that you're allergic to, or the things that really feels good on your skin, so you can add a note of that. Since we are well aware that the main problem with formulation, or one of the main problem with formulation, is the risk of spoilage, so that 3 different ways you can go about this. Number one is to use preservatives. You can check online for how to calculate preservative, and you can also write down every single thing you observed when you use preservative. The second option is to refrigerate it, but then refrigeration will only last for like, I think, 2 weeks max. Like, you have to use your senses, your eyes, how it feels and how it smells. Don't taste it, please. don't, don't taste it, please. Don't taste it, please. So just use those senses and then be monitoring it over time to know how long this product would last in the refrigerator, or you can freeze it. The third option is to make small quantities. If you don't have a refrigerator, you have issues with NEPA like I do, or you can't get preservative, make small portions, make smaller portions. Next thing is microbial contamination. Make sure your bowls and your spatulas, your containers are sterilized before you use any of them. Make sure you sterilize your containers before using to store your products. Then you can also avoid cross contamination by using different spatulas for different products. You're mixing a pre-pull, use a different spatula from when you're mixing a shampoo. Just make sure you are using different spatulas. That way you can avoid cross contaminations. So tell me, guys, Are you team DIY or are you team formulated? Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you have not already subscribed, and share. And at the end of the day, products are very important, but then I would always pick technique over products. So watch the next video to get your technique right. See you in my next video. Bye.